Okay, so three things I want to wrap up from the previous video where we built the abstract. If you remember at the beginning of the title video is where I modified, no, it wasn't the beginning of the title, it was the beginning of the abstract video where I modified the format of normal to have a 1/2 inch indent. Go into the paragraphs, that's where you define that 1/2 inch indent. And remember I said that we had to modify the title, the subtitle, the title centered. We had to modify each of those formats to make sure that that 1/2 inch indent didn't continue. One of the things that also needed to be modified because it was built on the normal font is these running heads. So you see when I double click in here, this is also indented. There's a few ways to take care of that. We could create a new style for running heads that would be built on normal and have no indent, or we can just drag that indent like that. Okay, so that one goes away. I'm going to do undo real quick, and then the third way to do that is go home, paragraph, none. So that fixes that. Remember though, we have two different running heads in here. We got the first page header, and then we've got the rest of the document. So I'm going to go to the header footer design that shows you there's an easy way. You can just go to the next one. This one has the same issue, and we just fixed our running heads. That was the first thing I wanted to point out. The second thing to correct from the last video, or to update from the last video, we built this nice little abstract title style, but one of the things we want the abstract to show up over here in the title of contents, and I didn't add outline, what do they call it, outline level 1 to that paragraph format. So as soon as I push OK, now the abstract is going to show up on the table of contents. One of the things, if you're not aware, that's nice about this table of contents, I can click there and it'll take me to that element. I can click back there, it'll take me to that element. So as we build especially longer and longer product, longer papers, you'll have a whole table of contents over here, and you can easily click to chapter 8 and chapter 9 and whatever you would like. The third thing to add that I just added offline to end the abstract is this keywords. So now we're at the end of the paper, at the end of what we've done so far, at the end of page 2, and I'm going to push Control Enter to take us to page 3. Now, the previous style that we used up here was normal, and so our new paragraph is just going to start at normal. Now, the beginning of the page in APA format, the beginning of the body of the document, you don't have to, insert an inside title. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just to demonstrate it. I can say title centered, and then I would duplicate the full APA title. So here's my full APA title, copy, and put it down here. Oops, put it down here, and paste it. Now, oh, it pasted it as, I'm going to paste special. Paste special. Unformatted text. Okay, so the difference there, when I did it the other way, it pasted it as a title, and it showed up over here as title format. In this case, it would be okay. You could certainly do it that way. If you wanted to, you could create a different inside title style. So remember, our title style, the following is normal. That works just fine for us because, so let's go ahead and change that to title style. As soon as I push enter, so I'm pushing the right arrow right now, and you can see by the insertion point I'm at the very end. As soon as I push enter, it takes me to the normal location, and I'm ready to type my paper. So I'm going to I'm going to insert several paragraphs, let's say 4 or 5 paragraphs of Ipsum in here. Let's do 5 paragraphs of Ipsum. Now this Ipsum is going to get, if it ever generates, is going to have page or extra line spaces in it. So I'm actually going to go to a different editor and take those out so that when I copy or when I paste those into Microsoft Word, the extra lines in there will not be there. So I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to delete the extra line feeds between the paragraphs. Copy that. Get rid of that. No, I don't want to save that. Go back to here. Okay, now I'm going to paste in the font, or the text, I mean. Now, remember, I already am in normal style, so when I paste that, every paragraph comes in at normal style. Cool. So now I've got body in my paper. Here's the beginning of my paper. It shows up there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to want headings inside my document. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to say, here is a first level heading. And it strikes me that I'm not positive if those are supposed to be caps or not. So let me find the sample. I'll produce sample file. And we'll take a look at this together. So there's the inside title. It's got caps. Okay, so here's a running head. It has caps. Or here's not a running head. Here is a heading, and it has caps. So we'll go back to here, and we'll say here is a first level heading. Okay, now clearly this doesn't look like the one we just saw in the sample file. It's not APA format. I want to create a first level heading. Well, look, Microsoft Word already has one in there. I'm going to click on that, and that first level heading showed up in my table of contents, which is good, but clearly this doesn't look like APA format. As we've done on the previous ones, I'm going to say modify Times New Roman 12, not 11, 12, not, yes, APA first level heading, bold, black color, paragraph, no indentation, no extra space before, and I want it centered. And then you see it's on outline level 1 already. It's a built-in style in Microsoft Word, so that's already built into it. So there's my first level heading. Now I'm going to come down here and let's put in an enter, and here we go. Here's second level heading. Now this one's cool because see, I've got my heading on page 3, but the body that's related to that heading is on page 4. The heading should never be separated from page 4. So first of all, we're going to change it to heading level 2. Boom. Microsoft Word's built-in heading fixes that, and I'll show you how it does that. But first, as you can see, this isn't APA format either. So I'm going to go in and modify heading level 2. You see it showed up in my table of contents. And I'm going to change Times New Roman 12 point. It still stays bold. Automatic color, format, paragraph, no extra space before, no indentation. Now, for how it kept the heading with the paragraph, there's the selections. This window orphan control keeps any paragraph, first line or last line, from going across a page break. It'll always have at least 2 lines, so that should always be on. This keep with next is related to headings and things like that, where you don't want the heading separated from the, oops, I didn't want to cancel that. I wanted to say okay. First line not indented, no space before. Alignment left, yes. Okay, so there's a second level heading. That all looks good. Now, let's say I'm done with my paper. I'm not sure that the content is up to snuff, but the format looks pretty good. And I'm ready to put in references. I'm at the end of my paper. Again, I'm not going to hit enter, 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 enter to go down to the next page. I'm going to hit Control Enter. That puts in a page break. Now, I can say titled centered and put in references. References is not a heading. It's like the abstract title. It's not a heading. It's a title, so it's not bold. It's similar to the first level heading positionally, but it's not bold. I could say title centered, but then when I hit enter again, then my format is still titled centered. I'm going to create a new new style. I'm going to call it reference title. So it would be similar up here to the abstract title. And right now I'm going to leave this blank because we're going to create a references style as well. So the style is based on tile centered, and the only thing that's going to change is this. So I should be good to go. I'm going to say OK. And now the next line is going to be, I'm going to change this to normal for right now. We're going to create a new style that has a hanging indent. Hanging indent. So it's the opposite of what you do with a normal paragraph. A normal paragraph, it's first line indent. In APA format, the references are the exact opposite of that. The first line is flush left. The rest of the lines within a single reference are indented half an inch. So I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to take that normal font. I'm going to create a normal style, excuse me. I'm going to create a new style called reference. Reference. It's built on normal. The style for the following paragraph will also be reference. And the only change between this and normal style is that instead of first line indent, it will be hanging indent. Okay. Now here is a made up title. So I'll use, or excuse me, made up reference. So I'll use my name, period, the year. What year is this anyway? Period. And then this is a book on APA in MS Word. Now you notice that most of these are lowercase. This is not because it's an acronym. This is not because it's a proper noun, and this is not because it's a proper noun. Period. Oh, and if I wanted to, I could say comma, 0th edition. Period. Okay, and then the location would be Eugene, Oregon, colon, publisher is no publisher whatsoever. Okay, now you see how when it went to the second line, you got that hanging indent. Now the next thing you see up here, I'm still in reference as my style. I'm going to hit enter. It's going to go. The insertion point is going to go flush left, and you see I'm still in reference style. So if I type in a new reference, 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty. There, you see that I still have that hanging indent. So that will take care of all your references. A complete side note, unrelated to this, kind of, in APA format, after references, there would be any large tables that are over half a page in length will not appear in the body. They will each appear on an individual page by table number 1, table number 2, or it would be table 1, the number 1, table the number 2. Each would appear on a page after references. After tables, figures, the exact same thing. Any figure that's larger than half a page will not appear in the body. It would go after tables. So references, tables, figures, and then would be your appendices. That's what would follow. So you see how your styles are all set up, your document is all set up. This was kind of a pain. However, now that you've done this, you have a boilerplate, you have all your styles set up. You never have to think about APA again. You just open your APA document and start typing.